All right, Jeff Gordon has joined us. He's the Coors Light pole winner for Sunday's 16th annual Sylvania 300, driving the number 24 Drive to End Hunger Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. And Jeff, I know you got to feel good about this effort. As disappointed as you were Sunday at Chicago, you got to look forward here this Sunday at New Hampshire.
No, very much so. That was a great lap, and started out kind of a tough day for us in race trim. We were trying some things that weren't working too well for us. Switched over into qualifying trim and immediately went to second on the board. But even at that, we were quite a ways behind the 11, and looked like everybody really was in race trim and qualifying trim. So wasn't sure what to expect qualifying. You always hope you can back that up, and then you see somebody like Kyle put up a really solid lap. And knowing that you got Denny behind you, you don't know what to expect. But the car really did everything I asked for it to do in that run. The first lap was sort of a warm-up lap, which is pretty typical for me. And that second lap, I got off 4 good, and the car stuck and got deep into turn 1 and was really able to roll the center and get back to the gas really strong. And so, I knew I got through 1 and 2 really good. So the next part of it was just getting through 3 and 4. I got in there nice and deep, got on the chip, which is what my goal was, to get on the rev chip. I did that, and then got it slowed down and got back to the gas pretty early. Got a little bit tight when I got back to the gas, but it still rotated for me late off there. And I even said on the radio that I thought it was pretty good, but I didn't know if it was enough. And obviously being that close, you don't know. And when I heard that it was first, I was just waiting to see what the 11 did. So really great run for us.
I will take some questions for Jeff. If you have one, raise your hand. Questions for Jeff Gordon. Nate has one.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Jeff, you and Tony were both kind of outspoken this week about the fact when they changed the tire here in July, it threw you guys for a loop. Did having the consistency of the same tire then to now maybe bring you and him back in the game? Is it going to even things out a little bit maybe for Sunday?
Well, I hope so. I mean, when the day started, we were still struggling with the same things that we were struggling the last time when we were here. It's just in order to get the car to turn the middle, you get so loose in and off, and even then you're still tight. I'll be honest, I don't agree with the tire that they have here. I don't think the balance is right, and I'm kind of questioning, some things about it. But it's here, we have to deal with it, and I think when we went over into qualifying trim, we didn't seem to have an issue with those things in the tire. It just seems to be our race setup. So some of it's in what we can do and need to do to make the performance better, and we plan on doing that tomorrow. But if tomorrow doesn't go well and we're still fighting the same things, you kind of get to that point where you're like, what more can we do? And so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But certainly in qualifying trim, the car did all the things I needed it to do.
Matt's got one right here.
Jeff, Matt Wernes, WWLP.com. Here in July, we had 2 long green flag runs, 90 laps each. And just curious, how important is track position to you?
Yeah, track position's big here. And there's a couple different factors that I look at with this track. This track, it's hard to get heat in the tires in the short run. So you really slide around a lot, and you can really lose positions on restarts if you're not careful. So maintaining that track position on those cold tires is hard to do. Obviously, qualifying up front, we'll have the track position there early. We're going to fight hard to keep it. We've got a great pit stall now, and so that will certainly help as well. But as you said, if you have long runs, if you pit under green here, that number 1 pit stall really doesn't do you any good. It's all about pitting under caution, and you don't want to have to come in here. So we stretch the fuel, and we know that it's tough to pass here. So track position very, very important.
Go ahead, David.
David Scott from the Charlotte Observer. Jeff, given how badly things went in Chicago, just what does this mean coming in this weekend for your confidence, or just how you're feeling going into this race?
Well, my confidence wasn't the issue. I mean, or the teams. We were running 4th when we wrecked last week. Your confidence gets broken when you're running 25th. And that's the thing that's really gotten us through this whole season, is that we've had a lot of problems that have been frustrating, and we've had to battle through them. But our cars have been really, really fast. So that keeps your confidence as a driver in knowing that you can rebound, you can get to the next track, and if you don't have these problems, you're going to have a good solid finish or a chance to win. So on Tuesday, did my normal debrief with the team, and immediately we were, we wanted to dissect the issues that happened at Chicago, make sure they don't have it happen again, but it was immediately shifted over to focusing on New Hampshire and what we have to do to come in here and win. I think we surprised ourselves a little bit with this pole. This is something we didn't expect. I think we expected to be strong in the race here, but for qualifying, we haven't sat on a pole. It's been a non-restricted track in quite some time, so this was a big one, and certainly good timing.
Let's go over here to Mike, and then we'll go to Nate.
Mike Harris, RacingToday.com. Jeff, at this track, how does qualifying relate to the race as far as, is there a huge difference between setups for the race and the qualifying like there is at so many other tracks?
For us today, there was. I'm hoping we can find something in this qualifying setup that works more for the race setup. But we were quite a bit different in our race setup earlier that we were trying. Listen, the setups have gotten complicated. You see these cars running sideways down the straightaway. Some cars are low in the back, some cars are high in the back. You got a splitter to deal with, bump stops. You've got, so many things that are going on in the back of the car that they're complicated, and trying to find what works good at some tracks and what works better at other tracks. You got the downforce tracks that it's obvious you want as much skew in the car, but you get to a track like this and you go, well, maybe the skew's not a bad thing. Let's try it, and so we struggled with it today. And this was more of a pretty typical setup for us, and we qualified decent last time we were here, so we went back to more of that type of setup, and we just had to tighten it up. So maybe we can look at doing some of that for our race setup here tomorrow, and I briefly talked to Alan about it right there, and they're coming up with a plan, but I can't specifically tell you whether it's going to be really far off or very close to qualifying. But typically, it's what you have to do here for 1 lap or 2 laps. The car would never turn the corner if you did that for the race. A lot of nose weight, pressure's up high. And so while the car sticks and feels so great for 1 or 2 laps, you just can't do that in the race, or 10 laps into it, you'll be dropping.
Let's go to Nate, then we'll go back here to Sam. Go ahead.
So if I'm hearing it correctly, it sounds like you're cautiously optimistic about finding the right setup for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm optimistic just because this is one of those tracks I feel like on the circuit that I have a good feel for what I need. Like going to Martinsville. I go to Martinsville with confidence because I feel like I really know what to tell the team I'm missing, or what I need, or when it's right, of dissecting it, because you have to drive it. I drive the track a certain way that's worked for me, and I haven't stopped driving it that way for 15 years. It's just, cars have gotten faster, tires, setups, all these things. So it's about driving the car the same way and then giving good feedback. And so I'm confident that we can find it, but we didn't find it this morning.
And second thing, you talked about how dominant the 11 was. He went from fastest in practice to 32nd qualifying. How difficult is it going to be for Denny, do you think, Sunday to get from 32nd to first?
It's not going to be difficult. He drove from 16th or something like that, to second the last time we were here and the last stop. So those guys they're good. Their car looked really strong. I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Let's go to the back row, and then we'll finish right here with Matt. Go ahead, sir.
Sam Tremaine from Motorsport. Following on from that, given what happened in Chicago, how much of a boost was it seeing what happened to Denny and Jimmy in qualifying today? And how crucial is it going to be chasing a race win in your race form?
Yeah, qualifying, is important, but there's no points for the pole. Doesn't guarantee anything for the race. Certainly is a nice boost and something to build on. We come out of here, and I'm sitting here tomorrow or on Sunday as a winner. And those guys, have some bad run and give us a chance, then I might be saying something different. But at this point, you know, we got a lot of work to do, and it's not going to happen all in one race. It's going to happen over 9 races, and we're certainly not going to quit. And we're going to go out and fight, and we're going to be aggressive. We're going to do everything we got to do to try to win races, and we'll see where we end up.
Go ahead, Matt.
Last 2 chase races, we've seen the leader run out of gas on the last lap. Is Sunday a fuel mileage race?
I mean, we've been geared up for some time to come to this track for fuel mileage. And, you know, we weren't able to incorporate all the things that we wanted to for fuel mileage here, but this is a big one. This is a big one. You know, because track position is so important here, you want to risk you know, your fuel mileage, your tires, by maintaining track position, and that means that you got to find a way to stretch that fuel, and you just never know when it's going to go green for long periods of time. And in this you know, race, historically, you get long runs at the end, and you know, you better have good fuel mileage.